Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, wherever, guys. While you're there, go and rate, review, subscribe, then head on over to the Facebook group or Twitter account and join in the discussion. Don't forget dayspringdiscussion@gmail.com is also there, and you can find me personally, Slim Dayspring12 on Twitter and Instagram. Well, hello everyone. It is a mediocre Sunday here in Austin, Texas. I'm not going to lie. It's been okay. We've had rain off and on all this week. And, a little gloomy clouds. The sun's come out, so it's not too bad this weekend, actually. Been pretty good. This morning, I took my daughter swimming in the neighborhood pool, which finally opened, so we did that. Been running a couple errands with my wife. Yesterday, we did the whole Costco run. Today, we had to go get a new doggy door. Boring domestic crap that, as a father and husband, I have to put up with, so... Anyway, for those of you who are new to the show, here's how it goes. So, throughout the last week here, I myself and some other members or listeners have been posting stories of the geek variety on the Facebook and Twitter account. And what I do is I sit here, go through my top 3 stories for the week, go a little in depth about how I feel about them, positive or negative. You guys, of course, fire back more comments and questions on the social media groups or Gmail account. And of course, we have a good discussion about all the things that we love, guys. That's how we do it. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe on the various listening platforms. Okay, so before I dive into the topics, I always like to start off with some comics. But this week, I want to talk to you not about a comic, but a book I've been reading. Skywalker, A Family at War, by Christine Baver. Now, this is a book, it's kind of like, biographies on the Skywalker family in the Star Wars universe. The first part is called The Chosen One, which is about Anakin Skywalker. Part 2 is the twins, which are Luke and Leia. And then the third part of the book is the dyad, which is Ben Solo and Rey, quote unquote, Skywalker. I hate that because I hated it at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, where Rey took the name of Skywalker when she found out she was a Palpatine. Spoiler. And, she still took the name Skywalker after the whole movie was about accepting where she came from, how she didn't have to follow the path of the dark side just simply because of who she was. It just didn't fit to me. I mean, I would much rather have seen her just say Rey, and that's it. All the coolest people have only one name anyway, right? Pink, Prince, The Rock, all those cool people have one names. Why not just stick with Rey? Forget Palpatine, Fritz Skywalker. It would have been better to me than actually choosing the name Skywalker or saying the name Skywalker at the end of episode 9, but that's neither here nor there. I'm about 100 pages in. I'm still on Anakin's story. And with this book, it's basically going through the events of the Star Wars saga, where, you're talking about episode 1, episode 2, Clone Wars. Episode 3 is kind of where I'm at in the book right now, but it's talking about, the Chosen One, kind of in more depth about what's going on in his head throughout these events, and the relationships and how he feels about them. So, you get kind of more in depth, the events we all know. I know the movies, I know the TV shows, I know Anakin's story. So it's just a little insider information. Like Shmi, you find out how Shmi became a slave and was separated from her family. You learn about what happened to Anakin in between episodes 1 and 2 about, how he, was treated by the other Padawans and younglings in the Jedi Council or Jedi Temple, and also how, the Jedi Council feels about him. And, all those little small details is really what it is. And that's what I'm enjoying about the book, is getting those small details in between the events we already know, and also the personal character, personality, feelings on all the events that are happening, as they go down. But like I said, I'm still on Anakin's story. I got, more to go. If it's really enjoyable, I'll probably bring it back up and, recommend it. But it's pretty good so far. So if you guys have checked out Skywalker, A Family at War, let me know how you think about the whole book. What do you think I'm looking forward to? Fireback, of course, Dayspring Discussions at gmail.com. And then, of course, the Facebook group and Twitter account. Okay, so let's jump into today's topic, starting off with the earliest one, Monday. We got our very first trailer for Marvel Studios' Eternals that is set to come out in November. Now, of course, this film was already set to come out, but due to the fiasco that was 2020, has been pushed back along with all the other Marvel Studio films. In July, we have Black Widow coming out. September, we're going to have Shang-Chi. This is coming out in November, and then Spider-Man, which is technically Sony, that comes out as well, I think in November too, maybe December, somewhere around there. So those are kind of the Marvel films that are still set to come out. This one is included in this. Now, the film is directed by Chloe Zhao, and if that name sounds familiar, she is the defending champion of Best Director at the Oscars. Her film Nomadland with Frances McDormand won Best Picture in this year's Oscars. So going into, a Marvel Studio film, knowing that the person in charge of it is the recent champion of Best Director is kind of a good sign when you're coming out with any movie, not just a Marvel or sci-fi or comic book film. But with me, Nomadland, honestly, out of all the Best Picture nominees that I saw, was actually my least favorite out of all of them. I still haven't seen The Father or Minari yet. I plan to, but Nomadland, out of like the 5 or 6 that I saw, was my least favorite. So take with that what you may. So the trailer came out, and we had a little tease of Eternals when Marvel Studio came out with that beautiful Return to the Movies trailer they did. I think it was a month or two ago. You saw a couple shots from Eternals, and then you see those exact same shots in this teaser trailer. But with this one on IMDb right now, plot says, quote, "The saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations." Kind of short, as far as plot or details with that. I'm not a big fan of the Eternals. I don't know a lot about them. It's one of those comic books, Marvel comics, that I've tried to read several times and I just can't get into it. So I don't know, honestly, a lot about the Eternals. I know their big enemy are the Deviants, I believe is what they're called. And I think that's what they're supposed to be fighting in this film, although we'll see exactly how they fight, because according to the trailer, they like to stay out of Earth's way. Looks like, they came to Earth thousands of years ago, helped, shape the world with their technology and powers, and now, although they've tried to stay out of it, something has come along where they have to intervene. But the cast is really what sets this film apart. You got Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Kit Harington, Camille Nanjiani, I think I said that right, and just a bunch of other people that really, just make this cast pop. I'll be honest, I'm one of those people that after Endgame, I'm really on kind of a downslope with Marvel. You had the Infinity Saga that was so epic and had a great end, and Endgame was such a cap-off to everything that Marvel had been doing. Marvel Studios now feels like they're in a reboot, almost a restart, where they have to build up new characters and start fresh, which they're not. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, we're getting Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. They still have those old characters, but their core Avengers like Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, they're kind of, they're done with. So you really have to get us as an audience attached to secondary characters, but also new characters too. And with the Eternals, like I said, I've never been a fan of the comic. I wasn't hugely excited when they said they were going to make this movie. It was still Marvel Studios, so I was curious. And after watching this full trailer, I kind of feel the same, where I'm not still excited about it, but I am curious. Now, there are rumors going around within Disney that this film is possibly the best film that Marvel Studios has ever made. And, you got your best director, Chloe Zhao, directing it, and they're going for Oscars with this one. And I don't know. I don't want to buy into all that. I don't want to think about all that. All I know is, am I going to walk into this film and be entertained? And given the cast, given the story, given this Marvel Studios with our Lord and Savior Kevin Feige, trying to steer the ship next to Chloe Zhao, I have faith that it will be at least a decent film. And I'm sure it's one of those things that I will underestimate. And by the end I walk out, I will be happy with what I have seen. But just based off this trailer alone, I'm still not super excited, but I am curious. What do you guys think about the Eternal trailer? I know you're probably more along the line like me, where you don't really know much about these characters, maybe even less. But are you excited for it? Of course, it's Marvel. You got to have some level of excitement, at least curiosity for it, I think, if you, of course, are a fan of the Marvel films. But let me know what you think about the Eternal trailer. Fireback, Dayspring Discussions at gmail.com, Facebook group, and, of course, Twitter. Okay, next topic. Again, another trailer. We got our first trailer for the upcoming Chris Pratt Amazon Prime Video movie, The Tomorrow War. So this one, according to IMDb, quote, a family man is drafted to fight in a future war where the fate of humanity relies on his abilities to confront the past. This trailer came out, the movie comes out July 2nd. Prime... It's Prime Alien Invasion date, I will say that, because I did get that, kind of Independence Day vibe from this trailer, where you do have a charismatic leading man going to fight aliens, and it's around the 4th of July. So you can take that what you will. I like Chris Pratt. Going to be directed by Chris McKay. Now, he's done the Lego Batman movie, which didn't do great at the box office, but I'm a big fan of, so I really like that one. He's also done some smaller stuff, like he did some Robot Chicken stuff as well, which, is pretty good. But I like him as a director just on that small sample size. You also have Handmaid's Tale and Chuck alumni Yvonne Strahovski in there. If you don't know who that is, go into IMDb, look her up, and then put your eyeballs back in your sockets after they've popped out of them from looking at how gorgeous she is. She was one of those celebrities for a couple of years. She was on my Celebrities 5 list, the list that you and your spouse get to make of the 5 celebrities you're allowed to sleep with if you ever meet. She was on my list. She's bounced off and on it, I think, the last couple of years. But I'm sure after I see this movie, she'll bounce back on for this year. But the trailer itself, again, you had Chris Pratt kind of leading all this. Very sci-fi vibe, very action. The fact that, again, it goes straight to streaming doesn't give me a lot of hope, especially since I spent this last week going through some Netflix movies, and I can see why they went to Netflix. Army of the Dead being one of them. I saw that other one. It's got Anna Kendrick in it. We're about the guy, the 4th passenger in the Mars mission, Stowaway, I think is what it was called. That one I didn't really get all the way through. At least Army of the Dead I watched all the way through, and it was fun, but it wasn't great. Stowaway I didn't even get all the way through, which, again, putting a movie on straight to streaming doesn't really give me a lot of confidence in the film. And I know it's sad to say, especially in this day and age, but this looks like a film that would look really cool, though, in the big screen theater. You got the great leading guy, you got the action, you got the special effects. It's a perfect film that I would go see 4th of July weekend, but it's going to be on Amazon. And I think that's maybe what they're kind of counting on, is this is the prime 4th of July film, and Amazon is counting on you on sitting down and watching it instead of going to the theaters. It's kind of what I think they're kind of banking on. And that's exactly what I'll be doing, because I like this trailer. I just am a little hesitant on it because of the fact that it is going straight to streaming. But we'll find out, guys. What did you think about the trailer for The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt? I really want to know your thoughts. And, of course, if you are familiar with the lovely Yvonne Strahovski, let me know how hot you think she is, because I think she is smoking hot. Oh, yeah. Also, this last little part, I love the part that really got me. And, of course, this is the part where after I become a parent, I feel things differently. That's how it is. Like, my wife always says, she likes the movie Steel Magnolias, but ever since she became a parent, she can't watch the movie without sobbing uncontrollably. And for me, it's kind of the same way, where as a parent, especially a father of a daughter, I feel things differently when I watch, father-daughter relationships on movies and TV. And there's that line that Pratt says in the trailer where he's like, I just want to save my daughter. And if I have to save the world to do it, then that's what I'm going to do. And, it's a cheesy, stupid line, but as a father with a daughter, it got me. Sue me. It got me. It sucked me in. And again, that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to this film, The Tomorrow War, on Amazon Prime, July 2nd. All right. And the last story for today, I'm going to cover maybe a bit of a doozy, I guess you could say, but it was announced that actor Aaron Taylor Johnson is going to be the lead in Sony's Kraven the Hunter film. So Deadline reported that the Kick-Ass and Godzilla star, I guess would be the other one he's known for. I know he's known for playing Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, but also he was in the recent Godzilla film with Bryan Cranston as well too. But anyway, the actor is set to play Kraven the Hunter for Sony in their Sonyverse, I guess you would say. It's the Spider-Man characters, but without Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is being used by Marvel Studios right now. So they're taking all his other characters, which are mainly villains, like Venom and Morbius and now Kraven, and making their own little universe, perhaps, is what it looks like. We'll get a better look at it here, after a couple more films, because there is Venom, Let There Be Carnage, that has yet to come out, and Morbius as well. The only film we've seen right now is Venom, but we have seen trailers for Morbius and the Venom sequel, and the Morbius trailer makes it seem like there might be some crossover coming, mainly because there is a picture or a scene with Michael Keaton, who played Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now, Sony Pictures executive Sanford Patnich, is that how you say it? That guy. Anyway, he's talking about possibly, crossing over with Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, he told Variety, quote, "We don't really think of our 900 characters as the Spideyverse. We have a Marvel Universe. The volume of characters we have, wait until you see the next Venom. You don't miss Spider-Man. It'll be exciting if they do meet, right?" He went on to say, quote, "There actually is a plan in regards to kind of crossing over and bringing in Spider-Man, though. Quote, I think now maybe it's getting a little more clear for people where we're headed. I think when No Way Home comes out, even more will be revealed." Okay, so these two stories kind of revealing that a lot of us are curious. Are they actually going to cross over and bring the Sony Spideyverse, Spidey-less characters into the Marvel Cinematic Universe where current Spider-Man Tom Holland is operating? Let me start off by saying, in a few weeks ago, they had the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer came out, and I kind of dogged on it because I did not like that first Venom movie at all. I thought it was ridiculous. Now, in regards to Aaron Taylor Johnson being cast as Kraven the Hunter, I like it because I think he's a good actor. Put a good actor in any role, and I'm going to say yes, that's great. Much like how they got Tom Hardy to play Venom, and then they got Jared Leto to play Morbius. These are good actors, and they're going into these roles, and I think they're going to do a good job. The universe itself, I think, is still a question mark of whether it's going to come together and be a nice cinematic universe, especially depending on what they're going to do and how they're going to try to rope in Spider-Man. It's all really just one big question mark. However, these comments by Sony Pictures executive, I guess he's the president too, is what it says here. Sony Pictures Motion Group president, I guess. He was talking about wait till No Way Home. This, of course, as we know, Spider-Man No Way Home comes out at the end of the year, and it's going to be part of the multiverse saga along with WandaVision and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And there have been rumors that, of course, possible other actors who have been in other Spider-Man universes are going to take part. We already know that Alfred Molina, who played Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2, starring Tobey Maguire, has confirmed he's going to be in it. Now there's rumors coming out that William Dafoe, who was in as Green Goblin in those set of Sam Raimi films, might be in there as well. There were rumors about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone and all the people who have been in previous Spider-Man films. But we also saw J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man Far From Home. J.K. Simmons, the perfect man to play any version of J. Jonah Jameson. Such a treat to see him in that little mid-credits scene in there in Far From Home. It was really great. But some people are speculating maybe it's actually J. Jonah from the previous Spider-Man film, the Sam Raimi films, bleeding over, starting to open up that multiverse a little bit, and we're going to see it more in No Way Home. So this makes you think, of course, if they're playing with the multiverse, if the Sony president is talking about how they might actually connect, well, what usually happens when you have a multiverse scenario like that, most recently even in the Arrowverse, on the CW, they had the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and much like the original comic book storyline, they took all these multiverses and got crammed into one world. So all the heroes like Supergirl or Black Lightning, who were technically in different universes, got crammed and they were all just part of one world. I can see them doing something like that at the end of Doctor Strange, where that's how they bring in Venom and Morbius and all those other characters, to bring him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just a thought, of course, like I said, deal with multiverses. It's an easy fix. It's kind of a cop-out, I think, really, when, multiverses and time travel are kind of the two biggest loopholes when dealing with how to bring characters in and characters that, are dead, but bringing them back, kind of stuff along those lines. But yes, the whole, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven the Hunter, I think will be good. I'm not hugely familiar with the character of Kraven the Hunter. I'm not hugely familiar with Spider-Man. The only reason I know as much about Spider-Man as I do is because my brother is a huge Spider-Man fan, So growing up with him, I got to flip through some of his Spider-Man comic books when he bought them. Even though he hated me reading his comics, I would do it in secret when he didn't know about. I also collected or read some Spider-Man during the 90s. I was a big fan of Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly. Scarlet Spider I thought was super cool, so I followed that and I actually bought the Spider-Man run when he was in there too, during the original Clone Saga and all that. Kraven the Hunter, my biggest impression of him, or what I know about him, is from the 90s Spider-Man animated series, which is the same thing with Morbius. That's where I am most familiar, had the most interaction with those characters, so that's really what I know about them. But Kraven, I think, is a good character. He'd be a good anti-hero, and we'll see how they play it out. Again, I didn't like what they did with Venom. I thought that was a horrible movie, but we got Morbius coming out. We got the Venom sequel. We'll see what they do with this whole thing, and especially in regards to tying it into Spider-Man and possibly the MCU. But what do you guys think? Obviously, first off, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven the Hunter. I think he's talented. I think, adding talent to any project is a good idea. So I'm cool with that. What do you think about that? And then, of course, Sony president's comments about how it might tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe coming up. Do you think it's true? Do you just think he's just playing coy? Let me know, guys. Of course, Dayspring Discussions at gmail.com, Facebook group, and the Twitter account. And that is going to be it for me this week, guys. Lots of comments, lots of stories over on the social media groups. That's what it's there for. So feel free to add your own stories. If you don't see me add something to it throughout the week. Like I said, we'll comment, we'll discuss, and then I will try to get my feelings on my favorite comments or favorite stories at the end of every week. And that's hopefully how I can do it from now on, to kind of balance everything out. But that's it for me today, guys. Of course, thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for posting stuff. Thanks for the discussions. Of course, I really enjoyed it and I hope you do too. But that's going to be it. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with us all.